Hi, this is Tweek. I saw a holiday pillow in a magazine and they wanted $70. That didn't even include shipping. And I thought to myself, you know what? Grab some fleece and some yarn because we can do better. Join us. Supplies you'll need for this project are, you will need some fleece, you will need some yarn that complements the color of your fleece, you will need a Fiskars 1/16 inch hand puncher, a crochet hook, you will need some sticky felt, a pencil and some paper, a scissors, you will need some polyfill to stuff your pillow, and you will need your imagination. So let's get started. This project did begin with me seeing a decorative pillow in a magazine. I was shocked at the price, and I like to tweak things, so I thought I'm going to make one of my own. That meant getting some paper and a pencil and deciding how big I wanted my pillow to be. I ended up making this. I'll show you the measurement. This pillow pattern ended up being 20 inches on the bottom, and since it's a tree, we went up to 16 inches, and then about 11 inches. And it ended up being about 23 inches long. So that's the shape of my pillow. But what you do is come up with the shape you like, cut it out, and then trace it onto a piece of fleece. Now I chose two complementary colors. So the amount of fleece you need will depend on how big your tree is going to be. This is my size tree. I took the paper, laid it out on the fleece, and I used a ballpoint pen just to very gently sketch along the piece of paper, which gave me my shape. I want one side of the pillow to be where you can actually lay your head if you want, and the other side to be more decorative. Next, we take the puncher, and I'm going to start on one end, and I'm going to start punching. Now somebody asked me, how do I keep the measurement? I use the tool itself. It's got a little bit of a guide here, or guard, and when I punch, I make sure this left side of the guard lines up with the punch I just punched. So as I go along, I can keep them pretty much regular. And since I'm going to be hooking two pieces of fleece together, it helps to have the punches as close as you can get them to being even. Let's go here. Starting at the edge, I'm going to make a punch. Okay, now I'm going to line this tool up with that punch. And I'm going to stay about 1/4 of an inch off the edge of the fabric. Oh, and that one came way down low, so let's back that back up a little bit. That's what you do. You go all the way up. I'm going to pull this down a little closer to myself so I can work a little better and work a little faster. I'm going to come up to the corner where the first little branch on the tree is. I'm going to get right up to that joint there, right up to that little nick in the fabric. And then I'm going to turn my tool a little bit and just go straight up and punch right up from that little spot. You see that? And then I'm going to turn the piece of fabric and continue along. So when I get to the corner, I'll just adjust, turn the tool, and as you go up your tree, that's how you get your punch holes in. So let me do that. I'll go all the way around. So as you can see here, as I'm punching along, it's pretty regularly spaced, but I got a little close to the edge here, and I noticed ordinarily the fleece will take those little spots that you punch will stretch, and that's why you can add in stitches with the yarn. But as I went to stuff them. That if you overstuff the pillow, these may stretch too far, so try to keep them off the edge of your fabric as best you can. I want a little bit off there, but I will be careful when I stuff. And let's finish up these last few punches. Done with the punching. Now, just like our other fleece projects, we're going to put a hook in here and get our yarn. I'm using this nice green. And I'm going to start again, one of the bottom corners. I'm going to come back one or two back from the corner there. Put the hook in and bring the yarn through. And I'm going to make a knot, double knot. You can see too where I had used the pen. That's going to be on the inside, so that won't show. Inside of the pillow. Okay, we've got a knot. Now we're going to do our single crochet stitch. We're going to put crochet hook through, bring the yarn back. We've got a loop there, and we're going to pull the yarn through the loop. So from now on, when you go, oh, come on now, let me have some yarn. Each time we go through the next hole, there's going to be a loop on the hook. So we're going to go through, bring the yarn through. You have 2 loops, bring it through. Go through, 2 loops, bring it through. Now we're at the corner. See that little corner punch there? I'm just letting the extra tail kind of fold in underneath the stitches as I go. So I'm going to put the hook through, and I'm going to add 4 stitches to this one spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's just my way of giving my tree a little bit of a corner there. And you can see that little tail is just about disappeared, but I think I'm going to help him out, and I'm going to just snip them off so I won't have to worry about him again. So we're going to continue all the way around the tree. When we get to the corner, I'll pause there and show you how I do that. Okay, what I'm going to do is just add a little, just let the yarn relax just a little bit so my stitch is just a little bit longer. See, I'm just giving a little more leeway to that corner. So when we put them all together, see, just a little more of a stretch there. Oops. We're coming up to the other corner. Now here's a little trick too. On this side here, you see that little bit of fleece fabric that was left. I'm just going to snip the tip of that off. Gets it out of the way, and I can put better stitches there. It's a corner. I'm going to add 4 stitches. See how that hole stretches out? The fleece is really good about accommodating however many stitches you put in there. So there we have our second little branch. And we're going to continue on till we get all the way around the tree. Okay, I'm almost to the end here, coming around the edging of this whole tree. And as you can see, my stitches are pretty regular there. And what I did on the top of the tree I wanted to point out is usually at every corner I'm adding 4 stitches into that spot. That gives you a tree that has a nice little area where you can tell definitely that's what the branches are. At the top here, I want to make sure the 2 pieces mirror each other because I'm going to be stitching in to match them. So at the top, I came to a corner, I put 2 stitches, then 1 in the center, and then 2 to make the top of the tree. So it's just 2 stitches in the corner, 1 stitch in the center, and 2 stitches. So I wanted to make that clear. So now we've got a few more here and then we'll tie this off. This seems so quick to me compared to some of the blankets I've done. It's a day project that was very, very gratifying to make. So to end, I stitch into the spot I started with. And now I'm going to come up and see these little chains lay on the top there. I'm going to come under the chain and pull through. Come under the chain. Pull through. Actually, I'm laying down another set of chains on top of those chains. Another. Go under that chain, pull through. Now we're at the corner. Pull through. And that's going to be where I put my little knot. Cut. Just pull that through. It's a knot. Okay. I'm going to put some fray check on there later. Right now I'm going to wait till I put the two trees together. So that's what we do. We've got, make sure there's a right side and wrong side on the fabric that has a pattern. And you can tell because one side the image is like more blurred or fluffy, and the other side it's a little more distinct. So once you determine which that is, this is the outside. So I put the outside tree. This one it didn't matter, but I'm going by the looks of my yarn. I can tell that this is the outside. See the difference? This is the outside, so I'm going to put those two together. Make sure I did that right. Yep, okay. So we have our two trees. Hopefully they'll line up pretty well, and if they don't, I'll adjust as I go. But you can see as I'm just kind of using my fingers to measure, these things are looking, see how they're matching up? That's a good sign. We come up to the top. The reason why I put those 4 stitches with one between, with 2, 1, 2 at the top, because those will match. So I'm getting the feel for how this little tree is going to go together. That seems way bigger, but it's just the fabric is kind of bouncy. A little bit, there we go. See, that makes fabric stretches a little bit. So what I'm going to do is start at that one end again. Pull these guys together. Ooh, that's pretty. The 2 outsides are out. And I'm going to start right here at that corner where I just ended up. I'm going to chain these guys together. See the chains that lie, I call them chains that lie in the top of the stitch. I'm going to start matching those up. So I come through. Okay, be patient. If there's too much yarn there, go out, come back. Okay. Make a double knot. Okay, now those 2 are going to be there together, and I'll get them towards the end with some fray check to make sure that knot stays. So I'm going to come out, going under the place I just made that knot, and pull through. We've got our loop. And we're ready to go. Pull through. Find the next one. Now, as soon as these guys are out of the way, that'll be easier to see. Let me do one more and then I'll snip it, so get them out of the way. You're going to be mindful of where the tree pattern meets. Now this one here looks like I have way more stitches on one side than the other. You see that? Just the way I stitched. So what I'm going to do is just be mindful of, as I line these up, you're going to come underneath the chain and pull through. Okay, and you're going to keep going. It looks like, see, that looks like there's a little too much on the green side than on the navy blue side. So what I'm going to do is even that up. So I'm going into the 2 chains. They're evened up. But I want to pull back. So I'll go through this chain on the green side and go back to the one I just came out of. You're not going to notice it so much, but it'll eventually make those 2 sides even up. So even if you're not really adept at keeping your punch holes even, you can adjust right now so that it looks like they are in the end. I'll take 2 that are next to each other, 2 chains. Let's do it again. And I'm always checking. We're getting closer. I still see a little bit of a gap, so I'm going to go to the next green side that's too much and go back to the blue side. What I'm doing is I'm kind of like taking a stitch out of this side to even them up. And as you can see how there's less of a gap? So that's all you have to do. Just be mindful of lining them up. And if you see too many, you don't want to put all the back stitches in one place, because you'll notice it. See how that doesn't seem like I did that? But if you got a clump like this and put it all together, it wouldn't look too good. So I think I've got this straightened out. I might do it one more time. Look in here. Let's see. Let's go one more back. And I'm just lining the stitches up better. Isn't that funny? It's the same hand. My hand's doing the punching and it comes off different. But anyways, that's what you do. You go around the whole tree and you just be mindful of, I'm stitching from here to here. And I want to try to make those line up. Then I'm going up here, make those line up. And you continue on slowly, adjusting as you go. I'll meet you on the other side. Okay, so I'm coming towards, I've gone all the way around. See how nicely that came out? And I did adjust. I had to adjust, especially in this part here where my little punchies were a little bit off from each other, but you see how nicely that works out. It looks lovely. Now on the bottom here, I'm stitching that closed, even though I'm going to have to stuff it with polyfill, so I don't want to try to guess how much yarn I'm going to need to stitch that up. So I'm going to stitch the whole thing, and then when I go to stuff it, I will pull out the stitches and I'll have the perfect amount of yarn that I need. No guesswork. So let me finish this up. Okay, I've got that little bit there. 1, 2, 3 first stitches. So I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to give myself a little more leeway. Done with the yarn. This is when we really get to have some fun. So we've got our tree. That's what it looks like on that side. Isn't he pretty? And then there's the other side. This is the side we're now going to decorate. Another advantage of not stuffing it yet is your decorations can go on pretty easily. What will those decorations be? What would you like them to be? First, we need some of this. Oh, I love this stuff. Sticky felt. So I'm going to make circles to make my ornaments. And this is so simple. Because it has paper on the back, all I had to do is find something round. I've got this really cool jar that was kicking around, but I like it's got 2 different size circles, so easy peasy. I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to draw around 1, I've just done some blue circles with this color fabric. I'd want some other colors too. What's this here? That's green. Let's try some of the gold. Use the other side. So I would keep making circles until I get the colors that I want. Now's the time to cut them all out. Here we go. Save these scraps. Scraps always come in handy. So here's what we've got. We've got circles that are going to be ornaments. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to take just a little bit of white, kind of like I've done Here I did it with yellow. Take a little bit of white. Here's a better example here. And add just a little bit of shine to each ball. So where is the white? I've got a bunch of scraps here. Look at all these scraps I've saved. And there's some white here. So what I'm going to do is, see how there's already a curve here? I'm going to take advantage of that. And I'm just going to start cutting out making a curve, and I'm just going to start cutting out slices of curve. They're a little bit different. I just want little hints of shine that'll go onto the ornaments, see? And as I go, I'll just tack them on, cut them down if they're too big. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut out a bunch of these little strips of white. Let's see what we've got. Go through this pile, and I'm going to just peel this off. And I'm going to lay it on my ornament, and this moves a little bit, so you can kind of position it if you want. There's one. And I'm going to continue on. All right, I've got my ornaments ready. I've got narrowed it down to 4 colors. And let's bring in our pillow. Here's the side that we're going to decorate. All right, next step, we're going to add our wire to put the ornaments on. So let's get some gray. And what I'm going to do is just cut out long strips. I'm going to try to keep them about the same width. You know how you look at a tree and sometimes you see the wire and sometimes you don't? So don't worry too much about this part. Just get long strips. You can use whatever color you want for your wire. I'm using gray. Start up here, and I'll go this way, and I'll come that way, that way, that way. So let's start. I'm going to add just a little bit of an angle down here. Start up here, top of my tree, and I'm just going to randomly put down the wire. Start putting the ornaments on here. My thing is, when you put the ornaments, make sure that the gleam of light is all on the same way. Do you want the gleam to come from which side? And I prefer this. I don't know why. I like the looks of that. I do. So that one was off. Got the light all gleaming. Excellent. I think I like the gleam of this one better. Now that I'm done futzing, we're going to lay them down and start at the top. Now, to make them look a little more like an ornament, I'm going to use some more of this gray, and I'm going to put just a little tip of gray like you see on the cap of the ornament. So I'm going to pull off this long strand of gray. I'm going to measure just a little bit of a cap and just going to stick it as I go. So make a little cut, tucking in. See how that makes it look more like an ornament? You could use any color you want. I'm sticking with the gray. Done embellishing my tree. We could continue, couldn't we? Yes, we could. I'm going to save this piece of gray. My scraps. So let me clean up the table, and then I'm going to come back, stuff it, stitch it up. We'll be done. Okay, time to stuff. Now here, remember I showed you how I stitched up most of that end. I'm trying to think which end I want to stuff from. I'm just going to pull this out. See how those stitches just come right out? Okay, and I'm going to give myself, I want enough room for my hand to get in there handily, but I don't want to add too much more work to my stitching. So I'm going to stop right about there, and I'm going to use this lovely product called Polyfill. So I'm going to open the bag and set it kind of near me so I can pull it out, little clumps. And I'm going to start at that top. So I'm going to get a clump, push my hand in, and work my way towards the top of the tree. I want to make sure that the little branches are filled. The holes are starting to stretch, so you don't want to stretch them past their capacity. So we want a nice fluffy pillow that would be nice to lay on, but not overstuffed. And you can kind of feel as you go. Get enough in at the top there. Oh my gosh, this is nice. So coming down the second layer, I'm just tucking into those little branch sides. Tuck over to this side. Okay, and I'm thinking, yep, one more little handful. Okay, and I'm going to push that right here. Now what we got to do is stitch it up. And to help me do that, I'm going to use a chip clip. And I'm going to hold this together, tuck the poly in, look for those chains, kind of pulling on it a little bit, and just follow the chains down. Be mindful that I'm lining up my stitches. It looks good. It's a little bit slower than going straight away without the stuff in. See, that's all stitched. Looks good, huh? Now, scissors. Done with you, done with you. Let's get the knot in there. Because I want it to not show, I'm going to push the hook through the chain and pull the tail through a few times. Okay? Snip off the extras. It just disappears. And then this little spot here where the knot was, I'm going to add fray check. Don't have to add a lot. And when that dries, you won't see it. And let's see what we got here. Plump down into that end a little bit. Oh my gosh. Ready for duty? Let me show you another. Look at this one. This one I made a lot of color, but like the light bulbs you'd find in a Christmas tree from when I was a little kid. Another one here is all gold. And this one over here, they're all red ornaments. So you can see, whatever you fancy, that's what you run with. So if you like what you've seen here today, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and remember to ring the bell so you know when another episode of Tweaks with Tweek is coming along. Until then, guess what? You don't have to spend $70 on something out of a magazine. Grab some fleece, grab some felt, make your own. They are delightful. See you again.